Coming July 11th, 2017, The Fate of the Furious, extended director's cut only on home video. Check out the affiliate link below for more information. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and once again, we find ourselves covering a story about the hysterics over the Confederate flag. Now, if you don't remember, 2 years ago, Dylan Roof walked into a church in South Carolina and just tragically killed 9 people. I mean, it was such a tragedy. Killed them in cold blood. He killed them because he's a racist. He's a piece of shit, and I'm glad he got the death penalty. This guy is a son of a bitch and deserves everything coming at him. But in the aftermath of that, entire situation, there was one photo that appeared while people were trying to process what happened, and it kicked off this situation that still 2 years later has me boggled. And that would be a photo of Dylan Roof holding a Confederate flag. He wasn't holding one or wearing one when he walked into the church. When he committed his crime, he did nothing of the sort. But that one image at that one moment in time kicked off this hysteria, this anti-Confederate flag hysteria, and it's one that we're still feeling today, 2 years later, almost. I mean, I made videos asking the question, why was it okay to sell the flag yesterday, but not today? What's the difference? The flag wasn't even involved in this particular situation. So what exactly is going on here? And I was, oh my God, there's like tons of like posts about me being a Confederate flag apologist. I mean, shit, I'm a liberal that lives on the West Coast. Explain that to me. But for using logic and reason, it still makes no damn sense. But anyway, 2 years later, we're coming across this particular story out of Georgia, where the Nash Farm Battlefield Museum is claiming that it has to close its doors, right? They're shutting down because they said a couple days ago, the Henry County Commissioner, D. Clemens, went to the museum and asked them to remove the Confederate flags from within the museum, the gift shop, and outside. Now, this is what they say happened. Now, the county commissioner came back and she said, no, I asked them to remove the flags from the outside of the building on public land. That's what she had asked them. And in response to what she says she asked them, one of their main volunteers, and I guess a donor of these flags, basically took his toys and went home. Grabbed them all, took them down in protest, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because now the museum itself has to close down. And so the board of friends for the Nash Farm Battlefield Museum did say this, though. They said, to exclude any Confederate flag would mean the historical value has been taken from our guests, or from our exhibits, and a fair interpretation could not be presented to each guest. Confederate flags were on this hallowed ground, as were Union flags. To remove either of them would be a dishonor. And that is something I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with. Just last year, there was a big brouhaha over a class, I want to say like in Sacramento, that had put up a Confederate flag while teaching about the Civil War in a history class. And people lost their collective shit. Called it racist, called it horrible. It was stupid as hell, because at the same time, a Union flag was also in the room to compare and contrast, used as a prop to teach about history. But we're living in an age now where you can't teach history as it should be taught, and because people are too fucking afraid of history. And if you ever get to the point of where people are too afraid of history, they're doomed to fucking repeat it. And that is precisely what's happening in this situation. The flag represents multiple things to multiple people. It does. There's no getting around that. In the South, it's a point of pride. To a lot of people in the South, it means, you know, the Johnny Rebel. It means to rebel. It doesn't mean racism or anything else that a lot of other people attribute it to. And I think that is a point of conversation that many people have been overlooking. You have one culture that treats it one way, and another culture demanding this culture change itself in order to fit this culture's values. And again, identity politics over a fucking flag. But at the end of the day, we're seeing the hysterics come from the reaction to that one singular photo. They're tearing down Confederate monuments all throughout the South, and that's pissing off a lot of people that look at these as being historical landmarks. And the thing is, like, at first I was like, that's pretty fucked up. And then I heard that those are going to a museum, which case I'm like, okay, I can kind of see why they're doing it. But at the same time, those statues, They're not actively hurting anyone. They're not actively doing anything else other than stand as a remembrance of certain elements of our history. But when people are so afraid to learn history and they take the bits, that just bits of it, and they use that as reason to try to demand others to change, I think it becomes a bit of a problem. But the weird thing about this here is that while those relics and those monuments are going to a museum, here you have a museum that is closing its doors by claiming oppression. But I'm kind of on the side of the county commissioner here. The county commissioner is just saying, why, like, take it down from outside. I'm not saying I agree with that they should have complied. I'm saying that I think I agree with her side of the story. Because that seems to me to make more sense. Why would a county commissioner go to a battlefield museum that's displaying both Union and Confederate relics and demand one side to be taken down? Now, a lot of people out there would probably go like, because that's just the way it is right now. And I'm like, maybe they're true. Maybe they're right in that. Maybe that is true. Maybe that is what's happening. But at the same time, it doesn't seem to be like that would be the purview of the county commissioner. Now, asking them to take it down from the public land, I could get that argument. I could see them doing that given everything else that's happened. But the response from the museum to remove all the Confederate flags from inside the museum of what is on private property inside a private display makes very little sense to me. That isn't unless the Confederate flags inside the museum were pretty much the primary source of revenue for it. And then they felt like that was an attack on them, like that was an assault on them. And maybe that's just a knee-jerk reaction. Again, I have no way of knowing any of this, but that's just kind of what my gut is telling me here. Now, the spokesperson for the Henry County Commissioner's Office did say, the county has not asked them to take down anything or to leave the museum. That is something that they did voluntarily. And that, yeah, that's the thing. This is, if no one's asking them to like leave the museum, they just wanted them to take down the flags from outside, in which case, given the spirit of the Confederacy, they would have probably rebelled against that notion. Instead, it almost feels like they threw a temper tantrum, took their toys and they're going home, and now they're blaming it on the other side. I would have probably had more respect for the museum if they would have been like, we were told to take these flags down and we said no. I would have more respect because that would be them standing up to power and still trying to showcase it from an educational standpoint. But again, not everyone thinks like me, and that's perfectly fine. We'll have to wait and see what happens with this. I hope the museum doesn't close down. I hope they find a way. I'm also wondering, too, if this is a way for them to drum up business, to get people to come in again in order for them to fill their coffers to keep themselves open longer. I don't know. Anything could happen at this particular point, but I'm curious to find out. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that the county commissioner went in there with a kill all Confederate flags mentality, or did they just want them taken down from outside and the museum's overreacting? I am genuinely curious about your opinion on this. Another thing is, I don't think this video is going to be monetized due to the content of it. If you guys want to help out the channel, links below in the video description really would help me out right now. But better than anything else would be to thumbs it up, comment below, subscribe if you're new, share it around, get in on the conversation. My name, of course, is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day. Peace out.